YouTube, Dark Magician of Team Sorcerers here, and welcome back to another episode of What If Wednesday. And this is another redo episode, and this one is called What If Rainbow Neos was my number one favourite card instead of Dark Magician. Now, of course, I saw Rainbow Neos in the anime for the first time in 2007, and of course it didn't become a real card until 2008, or at least 2008 was when we got it in the TCG. I just had to get it. Saw what it could do, and I would have just instantly grown a huge liking towards him, and I would have gone out of my way to get the card. Whether it would be 1, 2 or 3, not sure, but more than likely I would have tried to pick up a playset, like I said, which of course wouldn't be easy, considering it came out as both a secret rare and a ghost rare, so it would have been very hard to get hold of. Of course, I would have done eventually after a few months. So I still think the deck would have been ready by the summer of 2008. Now, I don't know whether or not I still would have made Prismagician, because, Elemental Hero Prisma was also really hard to get hold of at the time. But it's unlikely I would have tried to get my Prismas for this deck, and then, naturally, in the earlier days, I would have made the same mistake everyone was doing back then and milling Rainbow Dragon or Rainbow Dark Dragon with his effect. Because, for those who don't know, if you reveal Rainbow Neos with Prisma's effect, you can't mill Rainbow Dragon or Rainbow Dark Dragon because they're not technically listed as specific fusion materials, even though it did say their actual names. Now, of course, they did change this in later years and make it list Rainbow Neos. No, Elemental Hero Neos +1 Ultimate Crystal Monster. This was such a stupid bullshit ruling, but it's because of the way it was printed in the OCG, because Rainbow Dragon and Rainbow Dark Dragon had Ultimate Gem God in their names, so the materials would have been were listed as Elemental Hero Neos and 1 Ultimate Gem God monster. And then, of course, like 10 years later, they decided to errata Rainbow Dragon and Rainbow Dark Dragon and make them say this is treated as an Ultimate Crystal Monster. And then they changed the text on Rainbow Neos and made it say Elemental Hero Neos +1 Ultimate Crystal Monster. So I think because of this, it makes me wonder whether or not I can now make Rainbow Neos by using the Rainbow Dragon fusions as a material. I'm just going to check real quick, which I kind of wish I did before. It would help if I could spell. Crystal, Ultimate Crystal. No, I guess, no, Rainbow Dragon Overdrive wouldn't count. It's Rainbow Neos. Okay, well, what about Rainbow Dragon Overdrive? You know, the original Fusion. Oh, Rainbow Dragon. No, there. Rainbow Overdragon is treated as an ultimate crystal card. Rainbow Dragon Overdrive isn't. So yeah, it does make me wonder. So I'm assuming that that I can use Rainbow Overdragon as a fusion material for Rainbow Neos. I think. Not that I plan to, but I'd just be really interested to know. So if you know the ruling, let me know in the comments. So anyway, back on topic. Yeah, I remember learning that ruling regarding Prisma and Neos the hard way in a game that I filmed. So I actually, and I used to run Rainbow Dark Dragon in my Rainbow Neos deck, and someone said, Prisma can't copy Rainbow Dragon. I said, yes it can, it's one of the fusion materials listed on Rainbow Neos. Then that's when I was given the ruling, and then I was like, what? That's stupid and bullshit. So, Rainbow Neos, of course, would end up being harder to play than I thought. Now, while there were many ways to get to Neos, there was, like, nothing that could search Rainbow Dragon, well, except for Rainbow Path, but that only works in a Crystal Beast deck, which the Black Forest can search Rainbow Dragon, of course, but of course she was still banned at the time, so that was out of the question. And Melody of the Awakening Dragon, of course, didn't exist yet. And which just left Gold Sarcophagus, but I believe until 2009 it was only available as a Shonen Jump prize card. So I still played it anyway, otherwise the other easy option was just use Future Fusion to make it, and hope it wouldn't get popped by Heavy Storm or MST. So yeah, the deck would have been completed by the summer of 2008, and I of course would have ended up playing it in more tournaments than I would have Prismagician and Elemental Heroes. I think I still would have tried to make Prismagician anyway, but Rainbow Neos would have taken priority. Now, one thing's for sure, I wouldn't have played this Neos and Rainbow Dragon in my Elemental Hero deck, because well, I guess I feel like it would have been a bit too cloggy. So, yeah, it was just easier to play them as separate hero decks. But I'm not sure I would have done that well in tournaments, because the problem was this is when Synchro era began and the game just got harder and tougher because everyone was playing Synchros, and it was just tough to keep up, and it was almost impossible to top or even win a tournament anymore. But that's another story. I still would have made top 8 the first 2 times I played it, but then after that I would have still struggled, which would have been incredibly frustrating. And of course this deck would just auto lose to Macro. I did manage to win against it the first time I faced it though. In fact, this was when I did Marshmallow the game, not with his effect, but by attacking with Marshmallow the game. But other than that, I just could not win against Macro at all, except like 2 other times after. So yeah, that would have been my worst matchup. Gladiator Beasts would have still been a struggle as well, and yeah, they still would have been my 2 most hated decks in the entire game. Still, I would have stuck with it, and because of this, I wouldn't have retired the deck on the 3 occasions that I did. I would have kept this deck forever and still just tried to make it work. And I still would have gone through all that frustration in 2009, where I was just hardly ever winning any games. But I don't think I would have resorted to playing Dark Magic Sworn, since Dark Magician isn't my main signature deck in this timeline. So yeah, whether or not I still would have made pure Light Sworns is another matter, because I actually did try and build the deck at the time, like before I decided on Dark Magic Sworn, just because, well, not because it was meta, but because I genuinely did like them. Of course, the problem was a lot of the cards were too expensive and too difficult to get at the time, especially Judgment Dragon, Honest, and Charge of the Light Brigade. Getting those was just near impossible until they got cheaper reprints. So maybe I would have made it eventually, or I would have just given up on them. More than likely I would have given up on them, because there was a point in either 2009 or 2010 where I tried to make Neos Wise Man and Destiny and Dragoon a lot sooner, but I gave up on those, at least until 2010 and 11 respectively. But yeah, chances are I probably wouldn't have won any tournaments with this deck at the time. Although I'd like to think I would have had a much better chance in 2010, maybe, because in late 2009 I did start making top 8 and above again, thankfully. Yeah, maybe I would have done, but it's hard to say if I would have done or not. And Legendary Heroes still would have been made, I think. I mean, because like I said with my in the previous video, even though Dark Magician, Elemental Hero Neos, Starless Dragon and Utopia are supposed to be the boss monsters, Rainbow Neos would have still been the other boss monster that I would have gone for. Even though I guess it would have been more tricky to play, because in Legendary Hero I play one Rainbow Dragon, which I did try, like, when I made version 2 of Legendary Hero to see how it would work out, and it did work out just fine. But maybe I would have played 2 copies of Rainbow Dragon just so I could get out Rainbow Neos as well, but I don't know whether or not that would have made the deck more cloggy. Now, I don't know if Dark Magician Hero would have still been made in this timeline, but considering Dark Magician and Elemental Heroes were not the signature decks, it would have been unlikely that I would have made Dark Magician Hero, but what would have been more likely is just ultimately having them as 3 separate decks. But what I'm not sure about is whether or not I would have gone back to playing Prismagician or pure Dark Magician, with the spellcasters and stuff. I don't think Prismagician would have been likely, considering I was losing too many of my games mainly because I bricked. And I was just getting fed up of it. In fact, that's why I ultimately gave up on that deck in 2010 and made Legendary Hero. So I would have gone back to playing Dark Magician the classic way. It just wouldn't have been... wait, what am I saying? Yeah, no, it wouldn't have been as Prismagician. Actually, there is something I didn't talk about in the Shining Flare Wingman video. Would I have still tried to get a Dark Illusion case for when the Dark Magician support came out? I guess I still would have done, because it was still a favourite deck of mine. Or is, I should say. So yeah, I feel like I still would have done that, regardless of which card was the #1 favourite. Melody of Awakening Dragon, of course, would have helped give Rainbow Neos a big boost. I think, from the spring of 2012 onwards, not much would have changed. I think I still would have played Rainbow Neos in that Margate regional in 2012, but I don't know if I would have done as well as I did with Dark Magician Hero. It's hard to say. It's probably unlikely, considering Dark Magician Hero was a better deck than Rainbow Neos, in my personal opinion. Who knows? I think I still would have struggled winning any Dead Universe Comics tournaments with this deck until that tag team tournament happened where I teamed up with Brute Boy. And we won that, so it was like, yes, I finally won a tournament with Rainbow Neos. Then Neos Fusion, of course, would have given it a huge boost, and yeah, I mean, who knows, maybe I would have won more tournaments with this deck. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. And I guess it would have still been a deck that those Rainbow Neos decks hated a lot, even though, like I said, I think the Rainbow Neos hate is just unfair, considering there's boss monsters that are so much worse, but that's another story. And yeah, that's how I think things would have gone down if Rainbow Neos was my favourite card instead of Elemental Heroes. So yeah, thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you guys later.